Yet again, you made us.
Cool. And you can call back up the PowerPoint thing so I can see my notes right quick. So we said the difference between soundtrack and score. Okay, and then as we go, you can just kind of feed those to me. So that was something that I worked on. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Shoot away.
When you
Interactive.
compose, do you do it with like maybe a group of people, like an orchestra, or do you do it through more MIDI kind of software?
Both.
Both.
Well, with this particular scene and a lot of the scenes we used MIDI first.
Okay, yeah.
I was in my little cubby hole. Designed it, at the studio, and then from there well, once the movie was finished, the score we thought was finished, we flew to Bulgaria to Sofia,
Okay.
and we hired the Sofia Session Orchestra, and they did a wonderful job, and that scene actually there was with the live orchestra. So what I had, and I used samples, 8 DIO. Brass, cage brass they call it, and I used east-west, a lot of east-west sounds and stuff like that, so able to give more of a live feel from just the MIDI, and then from there, hey man, they took it and they ran with it, and like I think one take, and they were on it, so we're going back to use them again. So in the Hindi version of the film, we're going to use more of the orchestra as well, so we have to probably send it back out because I rescored it. That's why I came back here. So, but the relationship with, I would say sound and soundtrack and film. A lot of times, people say, "Oh, you did that soundtrack for that movie." Well, I scored it. I'm not a soundtrack person. It's totally a different thing. So I know we were talking earlier about the audio thing, but. Getting away from that just for a minute. Of course, you're talking soundtrack, you're just talking generally MP3 placed in a film. That's pretty much what it is. The score is the emotional aspect of it, of what you just witnessed. So there is a big difference when you're talking about, the emotional aspect and how you're gonna get this person to cry. Because I'm crying with them. I'm playing piano and crying along right with this person to feel that, hey, the emotional part of that. So it's a connection. You're married to this movie. For you guys, being audio people, make me feel it. Make me understand that, you have created sound good enough that now I can say, wow, I can feel this sound. I can actually get into this. Typically, I like to score films with sound already, sound effects, all the goodies, So when I score, I'm right there. Most directors will do that. Some won't. You just have to take the chances. And then they'll say, "Can you fill in the blanks?" Now for this film, I have become a sound designer. Some of the sounds that were typically ready for an audio person, I had to do them, which is fine. Just find the sound, because it would have taken somebody else, the guy we're working with now. Most of y'all know this, maybe heard of him, Matthew Moore. DAWs, what I use in film. I use an array of sounds. Where we just talked about ADIO, libraries, East-West. Contact is the biggest. Contact is one. East-West is huge. I'm knocking on wood because I think I may have that endorsement. He wanted me to mention it, which is cool. Like I said, East-West has a bundle of sounds. If you guys are just doing sound, try to also understand about sounds. I mean, you're doing that anyway. But from a composer standpoint, what is that composer using? Because if you get a chance to sit down, because I don't see you guys. So that's the thing. When the movie is finished, I don't see you. I hear you. I don't see you. I have to see you at the premieres and things like that. So what you want to do is, like I said, make sure all that's important. So basically, I'm dealing with all these different sounds. So what you want to do is say, well, what did he use? And how did he use that? So you might want to go out and collect sounds. Who samples? Anybody sample here to go out and grab sounds? it's an amazing thing to be able to just take your mic or whatever and create your sound. So online there are a whole bunch of different software companies that offer different types of sound reinforcements that you can use in your film. If you sound designers or just audio people, period. Sound designers here? Both? Everything? So if you're working on a film, so you could actually sit down and design Foley. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because we need that. We need that. And although this is going on tape, I'll just say it. I'll say it for the record. A lot of the films I've worked on don't use Foley. It's not a bad thing, but will it enhance your film? Hands down. Footsteps. Now I got a friend in Chicago who's great at that. I'm listening to this film. I'm like, I hear water drops and footsteps, and he's really giving it to us. So I'm like, wow. And so he says, I sat down and did all this. So I kind of actually learned that from him. So I can do it, but nobody's ever actually hired me to do Foley. It's a hard job and a long job. Would you agree? Very long job, because you have to be able to match. That's the thing, match up. And that's what Matthew over at the studio is doing now. He's matching dialogues, he's matching sound effects and things like that. So it's a long and rigorous job. Now, let's talk about where you can find, does anybody go online and get this stuff? Like when you're talking sound design, where do you go?
Pretty much just have a look on sometimes Contact as well. Yeah.
Contact. Anybody else go online and find areas like, I'll give you one, and you can write it down if you want to. SoundSnap. You ever heard of SoundSnap? Brilliant. SoundSnap. You can't go wrong with SoundSnap, but I will tell you, there's a price, but we do workarounds. We're all in the same, but we do workarounds. So I use SoundSnap because it houses a whole lot of different effects, all kinds of effects. And I like effects when I'm at home working. And sometimes, even with film, you may forget something. You may forget to add just that airplane or just that taxi cab going by. Fine, no problem. I'll go and grab a taxi cab. I'll grab a dog bark. I'll grab the man in his car with the brakes squeaking just to stop the car. I can handle that. So SoundSnap is, I would say, is the number one. Also, I'm sure you heard of Pond 5. Anybody heard of Pond 5? Pond 5 is, now you should share Pond 5 also with any visual. The visuals are here too, the people that take classes here. So they should know about Pond 5. It's a dope site for visual effects as well as sound as well, and music as well. So that's a very, very, very good site. Editors or musicians, composers' nightmare when it comes to editors. That's not our area, but I like to at least just touch on it just a bit. And that is having to do a film and it's not cut right. You all kind of understand that. It's a nightmare sometimes when a composer has to look at a film knowing that if they had taken that scene and put it here and did this and did that, it would probably came out better. That's my nightmare and scoring. Having to talk with different directors and editors. I normally don't talk to editors. I'm normally talking to the director. Like now, a lady just called and I'm talking with her about her film, but I'm not talking to the editor. She's talking to the editor. So he's gonna get it right and then she's gonna translate that to me. Does that work? Well, it could. That all depends on his level of how he understood what she wanted. So hopefully we can get it done. There's a movie coming out called Just a Friend. It'll be out pretty soon. Back in the States on a station called, you ever heard of BET? Yeah, it's on the Black Entertainment Television. So that's what's gonna happen then. Have a movie coming out November, around Thanksgiving. For the Love of Christmas. That should be out pretty soon. I just got word about that one, so that should be pretty cool. Independent, of course, but shot right. Sound was beautiful, and the score was excellent. Of course, I did it. I'm bragging. So I'm going to open it up. I mean, I can continue to talk about. If you want me to talk about more of where my background, where I come from, humble beginnings. I started playing guitar at a very early age. I'm a guitar player first, and then I transitioned over to piano at 18. Just pecking the keys. I didn't know anything. I was just playing around. And when I got to college, like you guys, I used to cut class a lot just to figure out the black and white keys, just to figure out, go into practice rooms and do it. I came from a non-traditional school, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, which didn't specialize in music education. It was a school of the arts more so, but they didn't get into the technical aspect. See, I'm a lot older than you guys, so we didn't have that technology back then. We didn't have internet back then when I went to college. So what I'm trying to say is that if you go on to 8dio.com, there's a full interview, www. And I should have put that one on that as well. That's cool though. 8dio.com, I think /blogs. Yeah, blogs. And then in the blog section, you'll see only 2 black guys. I was the first African American to be a part of 8DIO's website. And they gave me an interview and a bunch of toys to play with. So it's a good interview, and it'll tell you more about how I got started, who I played with. And I didn't touch on that at all. It's just so much information. My background, like I say, is music from an early age, and got involved in piano when I got to college. When I got out of college, of course, my skills were a little bit better, but I ran into a group of guys that were remix producers. You all know what the remix game is. So they brought me in as a keyboard player, and from there, I was able to play on a couple of remixes. I think it was a Japanese artist. That was the first one. And then Michael Jackson came second. And I actually have that plaque on the wall. That was him and Diggy, way back in the day. And from there, it just kind of escalated. And until I started working with the other artists, and then we wound up getting a Grammy with Beyonce. So I have a certified plaque with Beyonce, Crazy in Love, for the remix. For me to come in the studio and just play some keys. And from there, you just never know what happened. So I wound up, he called me one day and said, hey man, we got the Grammy. He was in LA, and he called me from LA backstage and said, hey man, we got the Grammy. Because that episode they don't show on television. They give special awards, early or something like that. So he was there earlier. So he called me and told me about that. So with that, several gold and platinum records hang in my apartment to show some of my work as a remix keyboardist. I will offer my services to you guys if you can use them. I don't mind helping. If anybody has anything that they need me to do, song-wise, or drop some samples or whatever, I don't mind helping in that area. And that's the kind of guy I am. I don't mind helping at all. So with that said, any questions? I mean, because I can sit there and talk for hours about what I do. Any questions? Any?
Do you have your own samples, like in the strings?
No, but you know what? Since I've been in Dubai, I've had a lot of time to think, because I'm pretty much on my own, So I said to myself, it'll be a good idea to contact a sample company and to find out what does it take to get started to do my own sample library. Because I hear things out of sample libraries that I say, well, I could do better. Yeah. I could make my own. So that's something that I'm gonna attack I'm glad you brought that up and brought it back to the forefront. So yes, man, yeah. I'm gonna definitely think about and try to figure out how to get samples going.
Has there ever been an instance of where a director wanted to reshoot a scene in a movie and that caused you to have to change the score in any way?
Can I curse? Heck yeah! Randy was like, wait, man. well, yeah, man, even here now. That's why I'm back in Dubai. I was here, I'll just use this example. In November of last season, I attended the film festival. Did we actually get that movie together in 3 months? Pretty much, yeah, they shot it, I scored it, but then I get a phone call and say, hey man, the edit didn't come out right. The sound didn't come out right. This didn't come out right. That didn't come out right. Can we send for you to re-score it? Well, they wanted to keep a lot of the same music, but just kind of enhance it a little bit. And it seemed like it took forever. I was working every day, nonstop, adding, subtracting, adding. And some things I liked, they didn't like. Now, what I want to say is that everything that I do, they're not going to like it because it's their movie, it's their baby. And, it may sound good to me. Oh man, this is dope. I love this. Don't matter. The director says no, gotta go. That's my motto. The director says no, it has to go. So many instances, even at home, with this next movie I'm doing, the lady that called, she had to re-edit her whole film. Does it affect me in some ways? I haven't seen the cut yet, but I'm sure I'm going to be shifting, same as I'm doing here. That shouldn't take as long because it's an hour movie. This movie is two point something, hours long. So I think 2:15, something like that. So, but yeah, I've had to do it a few times. It's not good. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I have a question about scoring. So when you're scoring, you're trying to convey a mood, right?
Convey, yep.
So are there certain instruments that come into focus, like about instrumentation? Like you would use certain instruments. Would you put in a certain instrument, put it in focus to highlight a certain emotion, instrumentation?
All the time. Anything that I'm involved in. Let's take you and your girl. Okay, you say, hey man, I'm giving you an example. I'm giving you a dope example. You all are walking along the beach. There's this sound that you hear from the ocean. Beautiful sound. You got the sunset in the background, it's set, but no music. Okay, so what do I picture first? Well, what do you think? Anybody? No, music-wise. Piano. I would start with piano first, just to set the tone. I would go with piano first and work around the piano melody, and then strings. Now, once I've gotten started, I may say, well, let's pull out the piano and just keep the strings. Or let's just say use a lead string, going in with a lead string, and then create the piano after that. Excuse me. So it's different ways you can do it. Let's say, same scenario. You're on the beach with your girl. You guys are walking, having a good time. Same type of music, right? You get into an argument with her. Uh-oh. What happens? Mood has to change. Music has to change. How do I effectively get the emotion out of that? So, I say, let's take the strings instead of making it major chord, if you understand the chord structures. So I'm going major chord with the beauty, and I'm giving it to you, butterflies and sunshine and rays. Great. Oh, but she says, I'm dumping you. We can do augmented chords now. So I'm going into this augmented thing. I'm going into a diminished, some sevens. I'm giving you the whole disaster, but I'm giving it to you easy, not hard. Then I may come and have to build and gradually crescendo into that. Then she says, then you say, give me another chance. Now I got to change the mood again. Give me another chance, baby. So now what I have to do now is take that and say, well, okay, let's go back to soft majors. Just give me some soft majors in, and then we end the scene. The end. And I can feel that in my head while I was doing that.
And for example, if that's the case, do you score like with the picture for this movie? Did you score with the video or just the director?
Score a picture. I scored a picture. In all cases, I'm scoring a picture. But there have been some instances where I can visualize from the script and say, okay, you know what? This is what I would do. What I like for you guys are doing in the future when you're dealing with directors, try to make sure that they have a vision of sound already. They don't. I'm telling you, they don't. I'm gonna tell you why. Because their focus is on directing that action, and that's it. Their focus is directing action. They don't think about putting music. They say music in the cue. They'll put it there, but they don't tell you what kind. So, and I get kind of frustrated with that because, when I read a script, I want to be able to say, well, wow, they wanted action. They wanted Thor type feel, or a Captain America, whatever it is. Give me that so I can say, okay, it's already in my head. I know what to do. We don't get that. So communicate with your directors and producers, and you say, well, look, I want to sound design this for you, but what are you looking for? Do you want to open up with a creaking door, or how you want this done? So let me know, and then that way everybody will be happy. And that's the quickest way to do that. I like the idea of working with a live orchestra. I like the idea of being able to be in my own apartment and my studio and doing my own thing guitar-wise. I brought people in to play. For time purposes, you got to do it yourself sometimes, because in the middle of the night, you can't get that trumpet player. You can't get the bass drum player to come in and do it. So I'll do it. It's okay. Then you can go back and then layer that with the live. I have a sample pack with Contact Complete 11 Ultimate. Man, it's the bomb. It's live horns, live bass, and stuff I haven't even loaded that just sounds really, really, really good. And I love it, man. So yeah, I would do both. I like the live. I come from the live era. Have a lot of the live replaced, a lot of the electronic replaced the live, of course, because they've cut out. And I've been reading articles on this for years, how electronic music has evolved into the real because of the sample. So a lot of times you can't tell. I was in the studio and the guy was like, well, is that the orchestra? I'm like, no, that's me. We use the orchestra later, but that was on my samples, so. That's what that's about. Go ahead.
Have you ever done any composing for games?
Gaming, no. I've been trying to get into the gaming thing. If anybody here has any leads on that, I'll gladly take them. If it's a free lead, I'll take the free lead and do it and send it in or whatever. If you need me to work with you, I don't have a problem with that. If it's anything involving music production, I don't have a problem. I did it out of the UK. Had some college students, some young college students, man. I did a dope UK short film, and I was trying to get that, but she didn't get it to me in time. But yeah, I would love to do some gaming stuff. That's the ultimate, and more television. That's coming, but I want to do more of that. So,
It's quite different, the score.
It's typically the same thing, but you have to really, gaming is a little different than actually scoring up to picture, movie picture. Yeah, it's a little different. So I would like to explore that more, and like I said, the sample thing I'm going to work on as well. So that'll be my homework when I get home. Any other questions, suggestions? Come on, guys, somebody say something. Go ahead.
Do you think that temp music is a really...
Oh, God, I'm glad you said that. Go ahead.
So for those who don't know, temp music is when directors will say to the composer, I want it to exactly sound like this. So do you think that that takes a lot of the creativity away from movies and all the scores eventually sounding the same?
Can I curse? No. Again, that's a very good question. Me personally, when a director gives me a movie and it already has temp on it, because guess who does it? The editor. Editor already. The editor puts his spin on it with the director. Okay, well, you know, this music will sound good. It has this, feel like this. This is what we want. Sometimes the temp winds up staying. The temp winds up staying sometimes. Me personally, I hate it. Hate the temp. Just convey the idea, I do it. I don't need to have the temp placed in there while I'm trying to score the film. Now, directors will do this. Give me the film, and it's loaded with temp all across. Where the editors. How can I score the film? Because the editor feels like a lot of times that it's their friends. It's their friends' music. Oh, we'll keep this in here. No, it has to come out. I don't want to hear your friend's music. They hired me to do this. I don't want to hear any temp music. Now, I'm going to tell you what I have a problem with. I have a problem with bulk music online. The scores that you buy, you can go online and some sites you can buy scores. I hate it because a lot of the people I work with back home, they use a lot of that. They don't use me. And I'm not saying they're supposed to use me. I'm not saying I'm all that. It's just that they would rather use a bought score for like what, $9.99, $19.99 and throw it in a film. You can't control that. You have no control. The beat scene, can't control your beat scene if it's bought music. But if it's naturally played, you can control where you want to stop at. It's tough, man. And I want to criticize, but I can't. I don't want to get into no argument with anybody about how you should use music. You know, music is going to take us to the next level. Even with what you guys doing, we all wanted to go to the next level. But you can't have a film using bought music and temp music placed in the film, and you present it to Warner Brothers. They say, "Oh my God, this is a beautiful movie," or the movie could suck, vice versa. But you have a score that sounds like John Williams. Somebody's losing. Who did the score? Well, we bought it off timemusic.com. Doesn't work. Because now you need to hire. So they may cut that out and hire a real composer. They may not. But me personally, I don't like it, man. I just don't. I cringe. Because guess what? A lot of the movies I've seen since I've been here, and I go online, and these are Chicago-based films. The movies don't have the quality. So you don't have the quality, but you've taken this score that you bought offline and you put it in your film, and I'm like, who did the score? But I'm thinking, wait, nobody did the score. They bought it. So it's a tough call, man. I just think people should be creative enough to get into that on their own. So networking for me has been very, very, very good. I think you should take advantage of social media. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. You know, so I'm going to say that wholeheartedly, that I think networking plays a big part in what we do, because for your next job, you need to know how to get in touch with A, B, C, or D, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Take advantage of, anybody have IMDb? If you don't, you need to get a free account. Just start a free account. My account expires in October. I will just pay the $150 and do it again for the year. I don't have a problem with that. Thing of it is, even on IMDb, if you don't have one, get the free account. And even if you've done some small things, just list it. List it and just kind of follow what's going on IMDb. You may get lucky enough to land a job. You may get lucky enough to say, hey, you know what? That was a job for a sound, audio guy, whatever. I'm going to write them. Write them. Write them a letter. What else? Facebook, of course. You know, they got a lot of different groups. You can type in Facebook right now, audio engineers, the love for audio, whatever it is, it's gonna pop up. It pops up, go in the group, and when they start posting and you start reading those names, say, you know what? This person looks, this name is pretty, let me see who this person is. Google them, Facebook them, LinkedIn them, find out who they are, get the information, email them. That's kind of sort of how I did you. You know, so that's what we have to do. We have to be able to dig a little deeper, because every one of you guys in here are going to wind up going to the next level. But if you want to excel and get there a little quicker, then just do some extra networking. It's okay. Go to the network. I don't know how it is out here in Dubai as far as the networking parties or the events. I know, like for the film festival, that's where all you should be. You should all be at the Dubai Film Festival. I think it's in December, right? You should all be there. And if you have business cards, you tell that director, hey, I'm an audio engineer, I'm a sound producer, I'm this, I'm that. Tell them. They may say no, so what? So if they say no, there's somebody else on the other room, on the other side may say yes. But you have to put that energy in. If you don't put the energy in, you're not gonna get it out. Now last year at the festival, I was running my mouth to the point where, you know, people were like, okay, who is this guy? Who is this guy? You know, so it worked for me. It can only work if you put the effort in. You know, find out on your Instagram accounts who just liked your page, who just liked that. If you know they got a bunch of followers, and if it's a company or something, find out if you can be a part of what they're doing. That's the only way you're gonna excel. You have to continue, because nobody's gonna come hand it to you. We have to kind of get it ourselves. So you have to kind of continue to work that until that big break. A lot of you all may wind up in the States soon. I can vision that based on where you are now. You might run into me again at SAE in Chicago. I've spoken there and I have a great relationship with some people there. So you may wind up there, you may wind up in LA or New York doing what you're doing, but continue to branch out and network all across the board. And I'm telling you, what is going to lead you. You know, read context clues. Find out what they're saying in some of these posts, and find out what name is that. Read the Hollywood Reporter. Find out what's going on in sound. I just read an article the other day about sound effects editing and the future of it. So there are a lot of things that we can bank on in that arena. All right, I'm gonna wrap up. Any last questions? I know I was supposed to give you my information for social media, my Instagram. I guess we can do that on the side, you know, off camera or whatever. So I thank you. I thank Randy for last minute, man, for you know, saying, hey, let's try to make this work. We pulled it off. Actually, I'm due at the studio, you know, probably in an hour or two, whatever. But I'm glad to be able to come here and then share this information worldwide, because once this is loaded, we're going. I'm showing this to some other people, and so we can kind of get the ball rolling and make a connection. Dubai, Chicago, whatever it takes, because I know this is not the last time I'm gonna communicate with you guys. You know, we're gonna keep in touch with social media or whatever it takes. Whatever, man. I'm down. You know, so thank you.
Thank you very much.